Kia ora, hello and Guten Tag. Welcome to Berlin Wall Stories, an exhibition that was commissioned by the German Embassy in Wellington in Aotearoa, New Zealand. It explores the perspectives of 10 unique people and their relationship with the Berlin Wall, a concrete wall that once divided East and West Berlin, and the border strip that ran between the Federal Republic of Germany and the German Democratic Republic. You're about to hear a recorded interview with one of our participants who shared their personal Mauergeschichte, their Berlin Wall story. Enjoy and viel Spaß beim Zuhören.
So for works to take place on the Berlin Wall section takes into consideration the fall of the Berlin Wall and the peaceful overcoming of boundaries and conventions between societies and people, the hope for a better, humane society and for personal destinies, wishes and dreams.
That's all you got.
Yeah, so that was it. No offensive material, obviously swear words, and I think some of the artists came up with some really nice ways to view it. Robert and Anastasia, I'll have to pull them up from emails,
Sure.
But I've got all their artist briefs as well.
When you read that, so how did you feel about the brief, and what was your first instant thought, perhaps?
Well, I kind of viewed it as we were looking at the wall from the other side of it coming down. We weren't addressing why it was there in the first place. Why it was, or what it stood for in that sense. But what it stood for humanity and the society and the peoples of Germany and East German, West German when it came down, really.
Did you have to do some research yourself, or did you know instantly what it was?
I totally knew about the Berlin Wall, and I definitely did lots of research as well. And Nathan and I sort of talked about our kind of style combined and what we could do to create create something that speaks to a brief like that. Yeah. Do you remember what that was?
Oh, we'll have the response. Every time an artist had to put a proposal forward, they had to do a written response to submit with the artwork, and the council approves it.
To me, it seems a bit like, please correct me if that's wrong, but that they didn't really know what should be on the wall as well. Like they would rather go to you and let you do your artwork, But yes, it kind of, there is some words that are important, perhaps like hope and human society and so on. But what it really meant for the people where it came from, I think that's hard to imagine here.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. I mean, it's very much it's quite an open brief. It's open to interpretation, really. You could take it quite a few ways, and I'm assuming that's what the council were hoping for, is a wide range of responses to that brief.
We were in discussions with someone at the council. They approached us, didn't they? Yeah. And I guess we were like every single other person in Christchurch, and it still happens today. People go, oh, there's pieces of the Berlin Wall here? Like, it honestly happens every time we mention it to someone, so that whole idea that it's there but no one knows it's there was one thing, and then us going there and seeing it and going, oh wow, is this original graffiti? If it is, we don't want to be involved, and then having to be told it wasn't.
There were dates on the artwork and you could tell that it wasn't original artwork, and the council confirmed that the artwork was from, I think, the 80s and 2014, as it had travelled around. Those two pieces had travelled around different locations.
Yeah. One was like a school or something took part in it. I'm not sure.
I think disabled children.
Yes.
So what was your approach? They got obviously set up where they are now. at Fisher Street.
Mm-hmm.
And then what happened then? Because maybe you can talk a little bit about it got tagged as well.
Yeah, so I guess we signed, became kind of contractors for the council to be the custodians. That was sort of what they called us, to look after it and perhaps do a fresh kind of installation on the pieces of wall. And I guess in those first few months it was getting tagged quite a lot, and I was going, I'd have to do multiple drive-bys in a week and just check on it. And the one area getting tagged the most was the police box. Obviously it was, the law versus lawless, and just having to go there and paint, colour match and paint over it a lot. And then we finally got two artists who came to New Zealand in December and January, December of 2019, January of 2020. So it was Robert Sakon, and he was from Poland, and Anastasia Papilinidia, she was from Greece, and they were a couple. And so we were having an exhibition of theirs coming up, and we thought they might be the perfect artist, duo to really be the first to paint on the walls first. And their brief was really, it was really amazing. And the art was great. We painted the other side, and even during painting, people came up and asked what we're doing, and is this the Berlin Wall? It's just been quite fascinating. And after that installation, the tagging stopped completely. We didn't have any other instances of people vandalising it. They did actually on Robert's side. They turned something into something. But we were then, Kofi was lined up to paint really soon after, so yeah.
So that was the idea anyway, to kind of give it a new layer every year?
Yeah. I think our first initial thing was we got really excited, like, man, we could do a lot more installations. We could have sort of mini events around the painting of it. I think we were just a bit blindsided by the fact no one knew it was here. And then when we painted on it and put it on social media, we got a bit of backlash about it. And then trying to get the council to do maybe a press release to say something about it, but we would just have to explain ourselves.
So maybe Nathan can talk about those comments as well.
Oh, yeah, so, I mean, some of the comments were sort of alluding to that we were being disrespectful by painting on the Berlin Wall. And, I mean, we didn't really think that we were, because we were given instruction to do that. So, I mean, we were kind of confused around why the public hadn't been educated about the Berlin Wall actually being in our city. So we, like Jenna said, we approached the council to do a press release. I think it was just on the council website. So it kind of defeated the purpose of actually educating the public. It would be great to have more education around why it's here and how it got here and what the purpose of it is and the history of it, so we all have more understanding of the history of the Berlin Wall. And it would be cool to connect the pieces of the Berlin Wall which are around the globe, to help tell that story.
Absolutely. Would you be able to read a few comments just
Sure.
to have an idea of...
Yes, okay. So when we did our initial post, within the text below it, we outlined how we're excited to be the custodians of the Berlin Wall, which have been gifted to Christchurch City and were painted by various people from 2014. And then we introduced the artists who painted the wall. And then some of the comments we got were along the lines of this. Some of them were really positive, which said, "I walk past these so much and now I know who made them, that's awesome." And then others go like, "In what world is this a good idea?" And the next one, wow, this seems so disrespectful. And the next one, what's the point of having a piece of Berlin Wall if you're going to paint over it? Yeah, so those are some of the... They kind of just continue on like that, really.
As an artist, Nathan, what do you think how important it actually is to kind of integrate that piece of wall here in that specific city with a artwork that comes from here?
Well, that's a tough question. Well, I think if the Berlin Wall is a visitor to our city, we should look after it like a visitor to your home, and look after it. Yeah, so, I mean, if we can respectfully paint it with murals that share the vision of hope for all people and coming together in unity, then I think that's a good thing. But again, more education around that can only help people understand why the wall's here and how it got here and what the purpose of it is, and how that wall can really be a vessel for, positive communication internationally. I mean, these walls are all around the world, so if everyone has that understanding around the world, not just here, that, this is a symbol of hope for unity, then that can only be good.
Yeah, it was quite surprising to me that it was received so badly in the press as well, because I think I said it before, I think the press released an article and there was no German voice in there at all, to ask for opinions, which is poor for media as well. But so they got a lot of comments that were really negative, and I was just wondering what you're thinking about those people comparing it to the, if you like, time of fascism, Third Reich, separation of countries, harsh history. Is that what we should communicate, or is it just a history, a part of it, but it's not what we want to talk about at the moment?
Those topics are obviously hard for people to talk about, and I think when there are challenging topics, people don't really want to talk about them. They want to move on. But it's definitely worth acknowledging that that's part of the history of those walls. And people need to know that those horrible times existed so we don't take for granted what we actually have now. And especially in New Zealand, where I think we do take quite a lot for granted. Yeah, we have a pretty peaceful, in the grand scheme of things, quite a peaceful nation.
Well, because I don't know if you know, but the matter why the wall came down was because of a peaceful revolution within the eastern part. So people gathered, thousands of people gathered peacefully with candles in their hands in the city where I'm from, in Leipzig, and called out, "We are one people, we are one," like this, and that was in 1989. So that caused the wall coming down in the end. No violence, just peaceful revolution.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's amazing. Yeah, I didn't know that. It's amazing. Yeah.
It's actually amazing because you might know that the eastern part was quite violent and very restricted. So there was people army people ready to shoot, but people were just peacefully kind of walking by with their candles in their hands, and the mood was very tense. So every second something could have happened, but they managed to stay peacefully and just called out that we are one people. And then slowly the system broke apart because of those revolutions. Yeah. The last thing I'd like to ask you is, what can we do in the future? So now your contract has run out, I think. What can we do? What would be your perspective for those two slabs of the wall, Berlin Wall here? How would you like to be involved?
Because here at Fiksate Gallery, we kind of are, in touch with many, if not all, of the urban artists here in Christchurch and abroad, but and further in New Zealand. But so we can access the talented artists that could put something amazing on the walls. But maybe, if we could organise a better artist brief with, the voices of Germany here in Christchurch, or, just maybe, even with that event coming up in October, it's going to mean a lot for the general public's knowledge of it being here and what that means to the German community here. So going forward we could really sort of push towards better better visuals, and make it more visible to the Christchurch people, not just through the art, but through the events and how we promote it and share what's happening around it.
How we talk about it.
How we talk
Probably.
about it.
Yeah.
Do you have an opinion on it as well?
Yeah, I think, it can really be used to build community, and not just here in Christchurch, but I touched on it earlier, internationally, and just putting all those pieces of the puzzle back together. And if there was a unified place where, all the people who connect with these parts of the Berlin Wall could share their experiences, either through a website or something similar, I think that would be really cool. It'd be and it would be ongoing. Yeah.
Definitely. And I like that you kind of put a New Zealand layer, like with urban art, that is applied to the wall by New Zealand artists. It's like you kind of, welcome this person or friend, as you said before, a visitor. To welcome that visitor to your country and to give it a little nice layer that kind of stands for New Zealand as well, because I think that's important.
So responding to that brief also is an educational process for the artist, because when you touch that wall, you get goosebumps by running your fingers through all the gouges and rough textures that you don't know how they got there, but you can imagine, and you just sort of think when you're painting it, you're thinking, who else has brushed past this wall? What was their life like? And you really you spend an intimate amount of time with that wall, and you're constantly reflecting on, just that section as well, and there's hundreds of other pieces of wall out there. And so it's quite an educational process for the artists who work on the wall.
So it was for you, when you...
Yeah, for me it was, and for the others to respond to the brief, they also have to educate themselves about the wall and, respond to the brief, which gives, the wall justice and what it deserves.
Thank you for listening. This was an interview recorded by the curator of the Berlin Wall Stories exhibition, Alexandra Falk. We hope you enjoyed it. There are 9 more recorded interviews in this playlist. Maybe you want to explore them as well. Thank you and bis bald.